Hello and good morning. I have to say I'm really happy and so very pleased to see so many of you being here. When we planned this, I did not imagine that so many of you came here. So I'm really pleased and excited, and I think we will have a great meeting. So I'm the chair of the Cost Action Engage, and Engage is an acronym for Enhancing Psychiatric Genetic Counseling, Testing and Training in Europe. And so there are quite a few people of you here already members of Engage, but some of you aren't, and I just would like to give you a brief introduction to our network. So we started in September last year, and we received funding from the EU for 4 years. So the sort of funding period of the network will end in September 2020. However, we are already in the process of looking for funding that will keep the network sustainable. So we want to keep on after that. And the reason why we created this network, or the challenge that we want to tackle over the next 4 years, is to strengthen pan-European research into the newly emerging disciplines of psychiatric genetic counseling and psychiatric genetic testing. And so far, there is hardly any research done on this in Europe. And furthermore, we want to develop a framework to facilitate the implementation of both into routine clinical care. And in order to do so, we have 3 research coordination objectives and 3 capacity building objectives. And as I said, we have 4 years' time, and we have plenty to do to fill these 4 years. So the 3 research coordination objectives that we face as a network is, first, that we aim to build a pan-European framework for psychiatric genetic counseling and testing in order to be able to compare research and to develop practice recommendations for both disciplines that can be used all across Europe. We need to standardize guidelines and practice recommendations and research protocols across Europe in order to be able to combine pilot studies that we are planning on doing in order to be able to compare the data. And we focus on sharing the scientific knowledge and data that all of us bring into the network with our different areas of expertise, but also the expertise and knowledge that we create within the network. And the 3 capacity building objectives are that we aim to set a multidisciplinary research agenda, that we want to foster transnational knowledge exchange and training, and for that, I just want to point out that we have money to pay for short-term scientific missions, which is that you can go from one place, from one laboratory to another to learn, for example, to do genetic counseling or to have a look in a lab that's already providing specific testing in order to bring that back into your country. And these short-term scientific missions are open to everybody, and we will upload the calls on our website so you can apply. And also, we aim to strengthen research and practice in Europe by enhancing professional careers with a focus on early career investigators. Right now, this is as of last night, we have 30 different European members, and there are several still in the process of joining, and furthermore, we have participants from Canada, the USA, and Russia. And in terms of the background that we combine, we have preclinical and clinical researchers from the fields of neuroscience, psychiatric genetics, psychosocial research, and ethics, and sort of clinicians from psychiatry, psychology, and medical genetics, genetic counselors, scientists from diagnostic genetic testing laboratories, and patient representatives. And when you see that we cover these very broad area of expertises, we came to realize that we hardly ever meet on conferences because we're so coming from very many different backgrounds, but we need to meet and discuss our research agenda in order to provide better care for patients. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy that so many of you came here today, and I really would like you to encourage you to really use this as an option to exchange ideas with each other and to network. If you want to find out more on who we are more than 100 participants now, and I can't list all the names. Please go to our website. And I just wanted to point out, because we realized that we come from so many different backgrounds, but in order to be able to really implement psychiatric genetic counseling and testing into clinical or into routine clinical care, there are different areas that each of us need to learn more on. So for example, a clinical geneticist or a genetic counselor might not have ever seen a psychiatric patient or is not up to date on the treatment of a patient, while a psychiatrist who has no access to a genetic counselor in some of the countries who wants to provide information to the patient has probably not been trained on clinical genetics. So what we aim to do in the program is that we sort of cover different areas. We will have one session on psychiatric disorders, which sort of starts with basic information and then going up-to-date information, aiming at those who have not a strong psychiatric background. Then we have a session on genetic counseling, a session more on genetic testing, and also what is really important to the network is that we provide ample opportunity for patients to provide their input, and we have a session on patient perspectives. And we will have in total throughout the lifetime of Engage, we will have 4 different workshops. So this is our first, and we aim to keep this structure to sort of really offer something to all different areas of expertise. Just to give you a very brief overview, so throughout the next 4 years, we will meet as the network once a year in a management committee meeting and also in working group meetings where we sort of discuss the project of the progress of the project. And in addition to that, as I just said, we have 1 workshop per year. And I just want to already announce that the next workshop will be in March 2020 in Maastricht. And this is a brief overview of the structure of Engage. So we have 3 different working groups. One working group is for genetic counseling, one for psychiatric genetic testing, and the third is on public engagement and sort of implementing or reaching out to existing national and international research structures to really implement our network into the science community. And we realized that sort of this division of working groups does not really make sense in terms of that there is or there won't be any psychiatric genetic counseling without the knowledge of genetic testing, because you need to be able to decide, is this a patient that might benefit from genetic testing or not? And also there will hopefully not any genetic testing without proper genetic counseling. So that's why we sort of implemented 10 different task forces which focus on different areas, and these are cross-linked across the working groups to really make sure that our different areas of expertise are covered. And I just want to point out one working group today, and that is led by Kati Koido and Leila Kapoor-Postik, and they are working on the monitoring tool for psychiatric genetic counseling and psychiatric genetic testing. And what that is there will be a questionnaire that will be uploaded on our website where everybody all across Europe can sort of answer the questionnaire describing the current state of the art on psychiatric genetic counseling and testing in the area that they are working, in order to identify maybe country-specific or maybe common obstacles that we might face in our journey. And they have also a poster here, and they might come up and talk to you, or when you see them, please approach them. If you would like to provide feedback on the questionnaire, that would be very much appreciated. And just this is my last slide. Please make sure that you sign the attendance list on both days. There was a slight modification in program, so unfortunately Andrew Cuthbert is sick and won't be able to attend. So he was supposed to speak today. So this is why we're not really running behind in our program. So we will use sort of the time in the slot in the afternoon for the time that we are overrunning right now. And also, in the evening, there's a talk by Professor Krawitz, and he will use, this will be an interactive talk, and he will invite you to use an app on your smartphone to actually have this interactive talk, and we will sort of use the time that we have saved to set up the app on your phones. Also, it's important for our network that you talk about us, so we have our own Twitter account, which I would like to invite you to follow. And please tweet about this workshop. And with that, I would like to thank all the speakers. I think I'm really pleased with the program that we came up, and I'm so grateful for the speakers who agreed to come here on such short notice. And a very big thank to the local organizer team. I'm really pleased that you're having us here. So thank you very much and enjoy the meeting.